Hello, Steve White 89. Well, we're up to episode 6 of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. I think it's called Udun. It was overall spectacular. It was epic. The first part, I'm not a big action person. Fights don't really do anything for me. The first part was interesting. The orcs invaded the tower, and the tower was set to collapse and kill a bunch of them, but there were plenty more. They flooded in through the town. They were fought off at first, and then they discovered that all the soldiers that they killed, the orcs that they killed, were all the townspeople that had betrayed them and went with what was his name? Adar, sorry. And then the arrows started flying, and they all went into the tavern and hid, but eventually Adar and the orcs came in, and at this point the mother was fairly severely injured, and the son, Theo, gave up the sword. And just at that moment, Galadriel and her army on horseback came in and saved the day. Eventually, Adar ran on the horse with Galadriel in pursuit. Now, there were some cringy Mary Sue worthy moments of her fighting. Superhuman, and I'm like, is she superhuman, or is it just Mary Sue-ness? I'm not sure. Galadriel is a bit too much. Doesn't bother me that much, but it's just you're aware of it. Like, literally, the guys are standing there just staring like, oh my God, she's so amazing, as she just saves the day. And I'm like, okay, it's a bit much. Well, there is a horrible cringy moment in a bad way where Halbrand literally sticks a spear in a horse's legs, Adar's horse, to trip it, which just was horrifying to watch, but it wasn't injured. And he's going to kill him, and Galadriel stops him. He basically becomes the king of the Southland, or whatever it is, and they're all drinking and happy, and she's interrogating Adar, and Halbrand stops her from killing him. And then they go off and they think it's all over. But the hot black elf, I've forgotten his name. I don't think he's totally black. I think he's part Hispanic or Latino. Either way, he's gorgeous and he's brown, and he bothers all the races. They can't stand that he's the hero. He gives the sword to Theo because he says that he was like, he missed the power, and he said, well, give it up. Give it to Galadriel, someone to throw into the sea on their way back to wherever they came from. And when he opens up this wrapping, he finds there's nothing but an axe in there. And basically, Adar has swapped it and given it to his disciple, I think was the main villager one who was obsessed with it, and with Sauron. He takes it, and it magically restores itself into a full sword, and he stabs it into some pillar and twists it, and basically it's like turning a key, and he opens the water in this giant dam, and it flows through all the tunnels that they were digging to go under the villages to avoid the light and to kidnap the villagers and take them away. And it flows into a nearby volcano and causes it to erupt, which I don't understand. And then the whole village just stands there as the volcano just rains down on them, and Galadriel just stands there and faces this cloud of black smoke and fire. I'm not exactly sure if they're going to survive, but there are big meteorites of molten lava basically falling like cannons and bombs onto everyone in the village, and that's where the episode ends. The scene of the water breaking out, some of the fight scenes, the volcano, it's all fairly epic and beautiful and expensive, and I'm tired of people trying to act like this show is cheap or boring. It had a couple of slow moments. There are moments where people are having these deep, meaningful conversations about theology or philosophy or all these different things that they're all talking about, their anxieties and the legends and what they have to do and obligations, all these sort of discussions, but they all have a weight to them, so I'm not bothered. But I didn't really get into the fighting. I was doing other things, but as soon as it got into, well, the rest of it, the volcano and everything, I thought it was pretty amazing, pretty epic, and I liked it. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I was trying to keep this to 5 minutes, but yeah, I was fairly. I'm like, did they survive? Like, it was a fairly epic cliffhanger, I thought. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just tired of people acting like this show is cheap or boring or not interesting. It's a little slow. It's a bit grand, maybe a bit too grand for its own good, but it's got the visuals to back it up as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it far more than Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. I'm finding that bleak and boring and dull, and I'm just watching it to see what happens next. I'm actually in awe of, the visuals in this and some of it, just as much as I was Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Bye.